Thank you, Colonel Manik. Firstly, thank you to PhD Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to chair this session. And we have a very eminent set of panelists here. So as far as the opening remarks are concerned, I'm not going to speak much. I'll allow them to give their thoughts on something which is very important. So just a couple of points. The theme of the session is Bharat as a global drone hub by 2030. It's a strategic imperative, and the reasons are many. And most of the reasons are known to you, but just I'll highlight the future war is all about UAVs, UGVs, USVs, UUVs, robotics. But I'd like to, change the definition. We have been using the word drone very often, so the sense is lost sometimes. It is not the drone which is creating all this. It is the technology which is put on the drone which creates all this. So therefore, this difference is very important. The emphasis has to be on the technology. And that's why the drone, otherwise, 40 years back also, I think, as we used to have, even when we were small, planes flying with that remote. So it is the tech which is important. So the future war is all about tech. And the technology it starts with your semiconductors, system on chips, edge computing, your artificial intelligence, communication, navigation, quantum, electronic warfare, and all that. And this technology which it brings as a strategic hub, as a strategic imperative, is all dual use. So if any country has to progress, whether it's agriculture, health, medicine, disaster management, environment, urban planning, all these are required. And if you are looking at Viksit Bharat 2047, it's tech which is going to drive it, and the most important being artificial intelligence. Even in the tech which is there in drone, we are now using drone only as a ISR and a targeting means, which is again limited by technology. But I think the work is already on, because I also know some of the things. If you miniaturize your radars and jammers, it will change the game totally. If you can put everything on a drone, but that needs miniaturization of all these gadgets. And I can foresee the so-called drone taking over role of satellites. Satellites is also something in the air. But whatever functions the satellite, the drone can also do. Again, it's a question of technology. So I'm emphasizing, and since I come from IIT Madras, it is the tech which is important. And definitions do have a meaning, like Colonel Manik, and we have been having sessions together, and he's leading a lot of things. It is not defense procurement. It's defense acquisition. Procurement means you're just buying. So, definitions sometimes become important. And being a strategic hub for, global hub for drones, the tech will only come from MSMEs and startups. And if India has to grow as a manufacturing and innovative hub, we have to promote these two agencies. Otherwise, we'll remain as integrators, and startups and MSMEs of other countries will become trillion-dollar companies, which you have seen, number of them have come up. So it is India's movement, I think, that China took advantage through technology. South Korea took it, Japan took it. Israel, US, of course, have been there for a long time. Now I think it is India's turn to use, and I think I will use artificial intelligence as the benchmark. And my second point, before I hand over to the panelists, is if the importance is understood for the drone hub to come up, then how it has to be, there are a lot of challenges, how it has to be done. Of course, all of them will speak, but I'll give you some points which I think, with experience of whatever I've seen, for the country to be a global drone hub, there has to be alignment. There has to be a single alignment from the topmost decision maker or the competent authority to the person who's making maybe a chip. Alignment has to be in terms of interest. Alignment has to be in terms of attitude. Alignment has to be in terms of genuineness. Alignment has to be in terms of fairness and transparency, and for the thing that the nation requires it. So this alignment is very, very important in my view. Second thing, this whole chain should not have bureaucracy. I am not talking of bureaucracy as a profession. The whole chain should have technocrats. But it becomes very difficult for bureaucrats or bureaucratic attitude to make this function. So that is my second point. And the third is the user is extremely important. Again, the user part of the chain has to take personal interest, and he has to drive the operational requirements, and he has to be a technocrat also. There are many examples, but I can give you one or two from the recent conflicts. I think you would be aware, but let's talk Russia, Ukraine, even in Israel. The focus is on short-range counter-UAS systems. They are not going too much for long range. And the reason is cost effectiveness. It is simple mathematics. If you have a long range, the circumference which you have to cover increases exponentially. And if you have a shorter counter-UAS systems, they are cheaper and cost. And if in a conflict like Russia-Ukraine, where everything is happening on a daily basis, how many counter-UAS system can you develop? So, you have to move with the operations. Second, in let's say the Iran, US, Israel, the long-range UAVs, which were slow-moving, have become a target. So in a conflict, the survivability is the most important thing. So some of the hail variety, they are okay for situations which are non-conflict like Afghanistan, but they won't survive in a conflict. So the understanding of operational things. Another thing, if you want an ISR UAV, then it better be without signatures. So battery operated are more preferred. So, the understanding has to be there. And the timelines of this understanding also have to change. Because I saw there is something called CPRA antenna, which is basically to prevent spoofing and jamming on drones. Now that has become a QR that put a CPRA antenna. But the technology has advanced. If somebody is not using GPS or using alternate means, but if you put that as a QR, his UAV or a drone gets rejected, which may be 10 times more advanced. So, the user, as I said, is very important. And I will not take more time, but the Indian conditions are very, very different. We have high altitude, we have peculiar situation, we need to simulate how the things will happen. And we can give credit to Iran that they exactly simulated what they will face and they were ready for it. So our conditions are also quite different from all over the world. So with this, I hand over to the moderator again for the session. Thank you very much.